the nature of your emergency?
Welcome back to the Tactical Living Podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Walton, joined by Sergeant Walton. Glenn, how are you?
I'm good.
You have been on a 2-week vacation. You still have like 10 days, not including today, to go. And something that I noticed is you do a really great job at actually being able to be off and relax when you're not working.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's defining that individual line of saying, okay, I'm working and I'm not working, because do I still get emails? Do I still get my phone text messages and all that stuff? Yeah, and I typically respond, but I make it clear ahead of time of, hey, I'm off the next 2 weeks. Let's talk when I'm back.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have a really hard time being able to do that. I know that sometimes people might get a day off or even get vacation time off, and their body might be at home, but then their mind is still like scanning, listening, bracing for the next thing, and then waiting in anticipation.
Yeah, I think like there's always more to do. It's always going to stockpile on us, and like over time, no matter what, and this is what I tell my guys all the time, is we're just a number, and it's, if you're not there, they will figure out how to make things work without you.
A lot of people think this might have something to do with willpower, but I think that most of it has something to do with our nervous system. We have something called sympathetic nervous system dominance. And for first responders in particular, it can be really hard to get unstuck from that fight or flight response because you're literally trained to have that on all of the time.
Yeah. And I think over time, I mean, we've combated this where I'm off and I still have work stuff going on. And Ashley's called me out and said, hey, you're in work mode still, turn it off. And I think it's important to have somebody to call you out, but also to support you in those instances to see how they can help.
Yeah, and I make it a point too, in a loving way. And usually it's not like turn off work. It's something more like it's done now. You know, we can stop now. It's time to calm down. Yeah,
exactly. And it's important because it's that switch that gets flipped when you say that to me, to be able to recognize, oh, I can shut it off.
For first responders in particular, I think that the sympathetic nervous system dominance takes place because you have this repeated adrenaline activation all the time. You're constantly hypervigilant when you're on the job. You have this unpredictable threat exposure all of the time, and it can be really difficult to be able to wind down even.
Yeah, I think, and especially being a newer police officer, newer firefighter, whatever it may be, you start to like chase that next adrenaline high. And when you get so accustomed and used to having it constantly, you're always striving to find that somewhere else. And when you're at home, that's an important time to reset and to recharge your batteries.
Yeah, because there's you and then there's your body. And a lot of people don't recognize the fact that your nervous system has literally learned to stay alert to be able to keep you alive. So it's going to resist shutting down even when you're off duty. And I feel like one of the biggest signs of this is that you might be super restless or irritable during your downtime. And for many people, that sense of stillness feels really uncomfortable. It can feel really boring, or it can even feel unsafe.
And I think it's important to really define like your boundaries of like our home. Our home is my safe space, and it's really, creating that space in that area to where you can go and shut it off, to where you're not living in that fight or flight response and not having to have that rush all the time, to where you're not in fear, but always aware of what's going on around you.
For a lot of officers too, I've seen them partake in behavior like being off duty, and they bring their radio home and then they keep their radio on, and they're literally listening for the next call. They're listening for things like sirens outside, or just even certain noises at their house. And so mentally they're on call nonstop.
And I think also with that is you only hang around other police officers, other firefighters. And when, and I've said this before, I had someone tell this to me when I was young and in corrections still, he said, when we're at home, we talk about work. And when we're at work, we talk about home. And it makes no sense. Like, why do we do that?
I think too, I've seen a lot of people that will reach for stimulation instead of things that are more relaxing or rest when they're at home. So something as simple as just constantly scrolling or drinking or needing constant activity, basically anything that escapes from the quiet is something that I see them turning to all of the time. And this just might be a sign that you're on that on mode when you probably should be doing something to be able to work on that.
Yeah, you want to find that space to where not only, like, say you fall asleep and that's your only quiet time, you need to find that quiet time space. Like, one thing that I've learned that is great for me, like Ashley goes and gets ready in the morning, I throw on my headphones and listen to a book and just do things around the house. And it's not per se quiet time, but it's like that I'm not having to worry about a thing and I can get stuff done around the house.
Well, I think for you, that is a sense of that therapeutic calmness because it's very methodical for you and you enjoy doing those types of things, whether it's, organizing things on the counter or like going through things to trash what we don't need. Like, that's something that you enjoy. And, it would be similar to somebody pulling out a canvas and painting, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm thinking of our Christmas stuff that we have set up and I'm like, okay, now one of the next things I need to do is relocate that stuff and move it and organizing things and just really there's nothing, crazy going on. I don't have to worry about anything crazy happening. It's just that slow, methodical movement and just kind of pacing around, mindless wandering.
So everything that I do is on my laptop, and there are so many different ways that we can put our nervous system into that, like, okay, it's time for us to relax, it's safe now kind of mode. And for me, one of the biggest mental indicators is the physical act of closing my laptop. But for some people, it might be with intention, focusing on your vehicle door. And the moment that you park inside of your driveway or your garage, you close that door and you visualize all things work inside of your vehicle and then just let it be. And then proceed walking into the house.
Yeah, and it's like having those cues for yourself is important. Like, I start my cues when I start taking off my uniform and starting to get in that downgrading of like shutting down my heightened awareness in such a way to where by the time I get home and I shut that door, like, okay, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that it's really great to have a transition ritual like that after every single shift, whether it is changing your clothes, taking a shower, having intentional breath work, praying, just something that will signal to your body that, okay, this is done now, let's start something else.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and it's really good to not only be present with your family, but to not have to live in the angst of what's next at work.
And sometimes we think that there has to be this long duration of calm and peace or a ritual, but some people might choose to have a ritual to where they park in their driveway and they sit there for like 2 minutes before they come inside and just have that kind of clocking out mode for themselves.
Yeah, it's in having those different cues, those different techniques, it's really life-changing in a lot of ways, because no matter what works for you, you're able to shut off that system.
So your body actually relaxes through the senses. And something else that's great is to be able to create that safe sensory input. Clint, you mentioned like my home is my safe space. And for us, a part of that is actually a cleanly space. So that ritual that you could have could be something as simple as 5 minutes of cleaning up the kitchen counter.
Yeah, it's having those. And I just thought of this as like when I come home, like I give you a kiss and I say hi, and then I see the puppies and they're all excited, and we just start breaking down that dynamic, having, going through and picking up little odds and ends here and there. And it's just like a slow, methodical thing that changes that perception.
Something that's been really hard for me, and it might be difficult for you too, is to actually redefine what rest is. And it's actually tactical recovery. a lot of the times we might be critical of ourselves thinking that it's laziness. And that for me has been something that I still continuously work on, that it is not laziness. It's actually a gift that you should be giving to yourself. And being able to have that downtime and relax is what's going to allow you to be able to enjoy those moments when you are not working.
Yeah, it's having that intentional time to really just recharge, and it doesn't have to just be anything specific to where you're a couch potato or anything like that. It's just recovering for your own well-being.
I hope you've gotten some value out of today's episode. If you have, do us a favor, drop a review, subscribe down below, and as always, know that I'm sending you a long, tight hug from my home to yours.